only got like 3 hours of sleep last night. I went to bed at 6 a.m. Woke up at 9. All right, so we're going to look at this movie website here and uploading images. And so let's just preview how that works. And then we'll take a look at what is making it work, the code. And here we go. I'm excited to have that new course online. Just to see, how many people actually go into it, how many people it helps. All right, so I'm going to open this up and just see what my paths are. So here I have routes. And /search new movie and posters. So if I go to localhost, it should just be running something straight up. I feel like I also want to share this just quickly. I put like a new background on my Twitter. Isn't that cool? The background picture. I like it. And I did that on YouTube also. And then also on Google Plus, which is right there. Kind of fun. Why doesn't it go all the way over, man? I'll do that later. Okay. Easy to be distracted. Here we go. So I could go to search. Nothing at home. New movie. I could come here and I could do Jaws. A movie about a shark. And I could not choose a poster, or I could choose a poster, so I'm not going to the first time. Right? And it just sort of gives me a confirmation. Some number got created, some product ID. Now we have Jaws, a movie about a shark. I could also do Jaws 2, a movie about 2 sharks. And I'm using markup here. And so, like I want to describe the contents of the movie. A shark that eats people. A shark that eats more people.
So what happens if you try to type
a shark that gets killed by people? There's the plot, right? What?
What if you type quotation marks? What happens?
And here are quotes.
Okay. Why'd you use the asterisk?
Oh, for bold. So you just, this is Markdown. And so,
Most people don't know Markdown, do they?
No. So thank you. Let me explain that. So Markdown is like, there's markup, hypertext markup language, right, where we're using tags. And then there's Markdown. I don't know if they called it Markdown just because it's the opposite of markup, but maybe because it's only an opening symbol. And so you could use like all of these little notations here to sort of format, but it's basically like the kind of formatting you would do in email, text email. And so you just do formatting that way. And then when people use Markdown, then you could format that. You can then take that and say, oh, so anything that's inside asterisks will be italic. Anything that's inside 2 asterisks will be bold. And why would I want people to use Markdown instead of markup, HTML, hypertext markup language? Why would I not want people entering in here instead of like that, entering stuff like this? Why do I prefer Markdown? Or I guess it'd be M, right? Why do I prefer, emphasis is italic, bold, strong would be strong. Why do I prefer Markdown to that? That took a lot more typing, first of all, right? And secondly, if I'm letting people enter tags, now I got to worry about this, right?
So the fact that you're able to type it, does that mean it's allowing it, and you haven't figured out how to?
Well, that's cool.
Or is it going to not accept it? And most people would just print We'll just hit Command B and hold it that way.
Yeah, well, let's leave the script in there and see what happens. Oh, Command B?
Yeah.
So let's try Command B around that. Command B? Nothing, right?
Okay.
So it's pretty rudimentary. We didn't build in, I don't know, I guess JavaScript event listeners for that keystroke to then take that word and whatever, right? And this is just text. This isn't formatted. So Markdown allows somebody to just do easy formatting, and it's without putting in script tags. But let's put in, or putting in tags. Let's put in a tag and see what happens. And so we could go then to search. And a shark that eats people, a shark that eats more people, a shark that gets killed by people. And here are quotes. We got one bullet, Jaws 2. I'm not sure why it ended up. Oh, a movie about, and here's bold. And so it took out the script tags, right? The script tags are gone. Maybe they're still there. Maybe that's inspect element. We're just not seeing them. Strong. A movie about, I think they were right there, weren't they? So I'm not seeing them. So we'll look in the code and we'll see why those probably got pulled out. So we'll see that, but they got pulled out. And we could also look at localhost 8000 App Engine, and we could see where are we storing this. We're storing this in search, full text search, and in movies, and a movie about Jaws 2. Here we go. And okay, so those are there. They're stored there, right? Strong.
Script's gone, right?
Yeah. So I guess did I leave strong in? I guess I left strong in, but
you also left script in. It's gone, right?
Let's check again. Let's do one more.
The thing I'm thinking of is in terms of user interface. I think a lot of people would go to a site like this aren't going to know anything about Markdown. I mean, some will, but most won't.
Right.
If you don't give instructions on what to code to do this or that, then they're not going to know what to do.
I have an idea you should try. Instead of putting greater than or less than signs, you should put like %3e or %3c and %3e and see if it.
Oh yeah, see if it does those tags, the codes. Yeah, so you can play with that and see if you could hack it and break it. And then, so the next thing we could do is JAWS 4. And we could go to IMDb. And we could get the POSTA. I am an angel of fire, the phoenix rising anew. Look at that, JAWS 4, man. I didn't know if there'd be one. And can I save that image? Yeah, I can save that image. JAWS 4. I guess downloads as good a place as any. And so now here I'll come and choose File, Downloads, JAWS 4, and Submit. It's uploading the file, and there it is. And now when I search JAWS 4, bam. What do you think of that, Daniel? Bookshelf app. No?
It's pretty cool.
Pretty cool. So let's look at the code, see how it's working. One thing, how would did we see this already? How would I get this? It won't let me right-click on that one, the bigger one. How would I get it? Inspect element in developer tools. Click inspect element right here. Is that close enough? Ooh, see the match? Right there. Give me that one. Come down here and look. And JPEG. Click on it. Open link in new tab. Copy. There we go. Now I can get it. Just interesting. Again, I'm showing you the tools. How you choose to use them is for philosophy to teach you ethics. Use them for good. There we go. That's my 2 cents on them. All right, so that's the functionality. And I guess we could also see just one last thing here in developers console. Where is it? It's localhost 8000. Boom, boom, boom. And no, I want developers console. And I'm going to go into storage. And then go into my bucket. And I uploaded, what was that last one? Did I call it JAWS 2? And that's where I uploaded it. What's that file? That's not the one. Oh, it gave it a unique ID 2 minutes ago. Here we go. So I'm storing that in the cloud. And so to run my console, my developer to develop locally right here, but to be interacting actually with Google Cloud, I have to connect my development machine with Google Cloud. And the way I do that is with authentication. And did we look at this in this class? There's 2 ways to do the authentication for Google Cloud Storage, the PIM way and then the JSON way. Did we see that? We saw that? So there are the examples for you of doing authentication. And so, for instance, just to look at it, and there's been a change to this code, so that's good to point out. Here I have that JSON file, and I get that JSON file from Developer Console. And I go into APIs, and I go into Credentials, and under Credentials I add a service account, and I choose JSON, and it creates this, and I download the file, and it's a JSON file. And then I want to make sure that on my git ignore, I add to ignore files of that type extension so I don't accidentally put it up on GitHub, and then anybody could start mucking with my account or be closer to mucking with it. So now I'm not going to upload that. And notice I changed the extension to XXJSON. Right, so XXJSON there. So that's not going to upload. And so now in my code, I add in a constant to my bucket, my app engine ID, and then here I say read file, and I get my JSON key. I read that file. I get my JSON key, and then once I have my JSON key, I'm going to use that right here, and it gets used with something called JWT config from JSON, whatever the heck that stands for, right? Which has something to do with transport maybe, or I don't know. But it's from Google. And where from Google? Which package? It's from OAuth 2 Google. So we could go look at that in the documentation and play with it and start trying to understand it a little bit. But basically, you just add your JSON key in here, and your storage, you give it scope full control, and then you get a configuration. And then with your configuration, you come down here, and anytime you need cloud context, use your configuration. You say, I want to get a client, an HTTP client, and you pass in your App Engine context. And then with your App Engine, with your HTTP client, you get a new cloud context. Pass in, I can't talk. Pass in your App Engine ID, and now you have a cloud context, and that what allows you to sort of do things on the cloud. So I know that seems like what? And that's just basically following the documentation, and we saw that before, right? Daniel, you remember that? You don't? You want to see it? Sure. Kai, you want to see it? Ruben, okay. So the documentation on that would be I put together a little presentation. So there's like, you could do it the P12 PIM way. And we saw that when we were in Developers Console. Right, add credentials, I'm inside API Manager, and then credentials, and then add credentials, service count. And I've got P12, or I have JSON. And it says JSON's the recommended way, and P12 is for backwards compatibility, so that's why I put this no here. Right, hey, that's for backwards compatibility. Me either, man. And you have to convert it to a PIM count, a PIM file. And it's kind of weird because right there in the developer console it says, hey, this is the old way to do it. This is the old way to do it for backwards compatibility. But if you go and you look right here, right, we are in Go on App Engine, documentation App Engine Go, and we're at storing data, Google Cloud Storage, getting started. And then down here they say, you know, generate service count, credential, and download a private key. And if you look at that, it says key type either JSON or P12. Click Create, right? And then once you're done with that, it says convert the key to a PIM format by following these instructions. And those instructions want a P12, not a JSON, right? So it's like a little bit confusing just to figure out that whole process, because you got the old way and you got the new way. If you're using Google Cloud, so like managed VMs, then you want to use AE deploy, and AE deploy is another way that you could do all that. So here's the documentation on that. And then if you're doing the JSON way, here's the documentation on the JSON way. And we have package storage right here, and then we have an example. And this example is basically what I use, right? Read the JSON, get a JSON key, use JWT config from JSON, give it the key, get a config variable, and then do a cloud new context, project ID, config client, OAuth 2 no context. Right? And so when I look at our code, I don't have OAuth config client, OAuth no config client, I just gave it context. So I don't know where I figured that out. Maybe this is OAuth 2 no context, meaning they don't have one yet and you need to put one in. I remember figuring that out a little bit at some point. So then you might wonder, what is a JWT config? And there's only one reference on there. It's at Google. So maybe if we just go to cloud, where'd that be? What's the URL? OAuth 2 Google. And we are at there, so we could go to OAuth 2 and Google. It's X OAuth 2 Google, X OAuth 2 Google. And here's a JWT config, and there's another example. So this example, again, reading the JSON file, using JWT config. It's pretty much the same example. But what does that do? It takes a key and a scope, an unlimited number of strings, returns a JWT config and an error. Google developers service account, JSON key file to read the credentials that authorize and authenticate requests. And what did I put in as scope?
What's the scope again?
Scope is like variables, you know, like where do they have access?
Yeah, I know that, but in the context of...
Yeah, I'm not sure. That's why I'm just looking here. JWT config is asking for JSON key and scope, and so JSON key, and then here storage, scope, full control. Right, and so so how would we figure that out, right? Create a service account, and just looking here, and then here. So scope was passed in here as because it goes into there and it goes right there. Scope was passed in as this. BigQuery. And so that's interesting that they passed that in. And I passed in storage scope full control equal raw dev storage full control scope. Read only write. So I'm not sure where I got that. But that's again from cloud storage. So a lot of stuff is like, okay, see an example and then try to understand it. So let's see, what's that one? I think we've looked at both of these. Yeah, that example, and then the JWT, we just looked at both those. Google Cloud Storage. So now we have a, how does Google Cloud Storage work? And so basically Google Cloud Storage is sorry, I want to be in the developers console right there. So here I could go to storage and I could create a new bucket. So you have buckets. Buckets are where you stick stuff. Buckets are kind of like hard drives. And so you create a new bucket and then you could start putting files on that bucket. So when I open up this bucket, there are different files in there. And when I'm in here, I could create a new folder right here. But there's not actually folders here. All it is there are names with slashes between them. Right? So folder 1 / folder 1, and then I could put an object here. So there aren't actually folders stored up there. It's just I've created a file name for whatever I'm storing, and I've prefixed it with folder 1 / folder 2 / folder 2-2, and then I could go through and I could parse that on the delimiter of a slash, and so I can know what folder I'm in, So there aren't actually folders. It's just a bunch of files stored up there. You're not actually creating folders. Even though we could create user interfaces that make it look like, oh, we have folders. So that's how it works. You guys ready to look at some code? So we do, and this is all put into the init. Why put this all into the init? What's the init do? Yeah, it just runs once. It initializes this app, right? Gets it ready. So I don't need to run that code over and over and over. And here's another really kind of amazing thing. Like on YouTube, sorry if I'm talking too much about, am I talking too much about myself? Am I talking too much about myself? It's like, no, let me show you this other thing about me. And I want community. So I put all these videos up, right? And then this dude right here, saw one of my videos, and he's like, hey, by the way, you should do this thing here to, make it run more performant. He's like, hey, nice video, and change this, fix it, right? And so I totally fixed it, and I sent him back the GitHub URL. I'm like, is this right? Did I do it right? It runs. He's like, yep, perfect, good job. I was like, cool. And then I started chatting with him some, and I was like, we're talking, whatever, just because we're chatting, and he works at Google. It's like, oh, that's cool, It's like, I don't know why he's watching one of my Go videos, like checking out who's doing what in the Go field, but it's kind of awesome. So that's another thing, right? Like, if you, take what you're learning and start teaching people, making videos at home and putting them on YouTube, and like, all right, I'm going to show you how to set up your Go workspace, and then put together a little training on and put it on Udemy. I'm going to teach you how to use Go to do web scraping, right? And even if you just get the code sample from some other place, right? It's like, let me walk you through it. Here's the video. It's 45 minutes long. I'm going to charge you $3. So if I'm getting the gears turning at all with helping you make rent, that's good stuff, man. Another little tangent, just how do you get yourself set up? right? This is all you got to buy. Logitech webcam. Right here. That's it. 90. Well,
That's the one I got.
you know, $84. Like a really nice one. And if you really want to go all out, condenser mic. Grab a condenser mic, $100, $79, and then a pop filter. Right. And then you need some screen recording software. And there's other stuff out there, but I don't know what this costs. $300. Holy crap, that's expensive.
You get it through the school?
No, I paid for it because I was doing private stuff. I just forgot I'd spent that much. All right, so that's Google Cloud Storage. Create a bucket. You need to install the Google Cloud Storage client library. So you use go get and install that. Right, and then that brings it down. If you look at my workspace, that's going to be in what's the go get on that? Go get let's look. There we go. Just put the real command in there. That's kind of confusing me. You know, it's bad when you create a presentation, you get confused by your own presentation. So you do that. So I should be able to look in googlegolang.org cloud, googlegolang.org x, googlegolang.org, googlegolang.org cloud. There we go. And so that went and got all that, which lets me run cloud storage. And then you do that thing where you get the key, and then there's the PIM12 way, and then here's the JSON way, which we've seen. And then that's it. All you have to do is type in go app serve to run it. So that's a little bit of the documentation. Let's finish looking at the code, and then I want you guys to do something. I want you to get some files up to Google Cloud Storage. Get a little win under your belt before we leave class today, right? Wrote something and it worked. So here we go. So we get the cloud context, and then all we do is handle the put. And for handling the put, right, we call cloud context. And if there's an error, we handle the error. And then we do a new writer. And we give it the cloud context. We give it the bucket. So that's just a constant. You know, it gave that a constant to my bucket. And then I give it a file name. And then I'm going to write and tell it what type to write, content type. And I'm going to give that file some content. And then there's how it writes that first one. If you want to see how to upload a file, we have uploading a file down here in the image upload with Google Cloud Storage. So you can look at that up here. But for the next 20 minutes or so, why don't you guys download this code right here. Just download it from my GitHub. I'll put it up. Make sure it's all current. Okay, cool. It's all current. And then copy that code into your editor. Get your JSON key. You know, make sure your JSON key is, you know, put in the right place to find it. And set up your bucket in Google Cloud Storage. And then try to put this file up. Okay? Go.
It says I'm getting charged.